Join me today for a book review, nonfiction, Wired for War by P.W. Singer. Welcome to the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bob. Today you're going to be doing a nonfiction book review, Wired for War by P.W. Singer. I looked earlier, there might be a different cover picture if you look for this on someplace like Amazon, but this is the cover picture for whenever I bought it. And in case you can't read the subtitle, it's The Robotics Revolution and Conflict in the 21st Century. So this is, as the book says, essentially about electronic-based warfare and robotic-based warfare. Not so much hacking, but like drones and things like that. The book is a few years old, and it's been a little while since I've read it. So it's possible that some of the information is slightly out of date, but if it is, we're talking very, very slightly, because everything in the book and whenever it was published, whenever it was written, was either already in operation in field or was in like the final stages of development before it was getting ready to be put into production to go into the field. With the exception of one or two chapters, which are speculative in nature, and the author warns you that they are, because we're talking about present and futuristic stuff. Like, of course, we got to have what do you see happening down the line? That's the way it goes. So, the interest to me, there were several. The book's well written. It seems to be well researched, and there were some interesting takeaways. A few interesting stories in there, and yeah. So, to me, the biggest takeaway, and this is also what I think is going to be the initial problem with AI, is that, and this is very, very difficult for me to say, it's the people. It's not the computers. The computer, even the crude what we call AI, will just do what you tell it to do. And it doesn't ask any questions. So, like, for instance, this is not in the book, this is some AI talk here, some little speculation. Let's say that you decide that you need a quicker response time for your drones, or you don't want your Air Force pilot sitting in wherever in a trailer controlling the drone to say, no, sir, I'm not going to drone strike that wedding. Well, the AI will, because the AI doesn't care. It has no concept of caring. It has no concept of the value of human life or anything like that, because it doesn't think. Okay? It's just really good at interpreting your orders and executing them. So that's one of the two sides of that coin, is that AI won't try to take over. It will just follow orders with cold, calculating precision. That's not quite as bad, but it's getting there. So you have that problem. And then the other problem, and this is addressed in the book, is that people don't understand computer programming very much unless they're in the field or read up about it. And as someone who's studying computer programming, like I'm, the limits of it are becoming more and more clear to me. They're far out there, but they are there. And as one of my professors put it, he shows this giant string of code. He's like, you go in here, if one one bracket is out of place, this doesn't work. He's like, this isn't taking over the world anytime soon. Like, not happening. So, and I believe him, because he's right. It just takes one single character out of place and the whole thing doesn't work, or only works up till it hits that point. Now, a better AI might be better at reprogramming, but we'll get there eventually once we hit the singularity. So, what the book explains, though, is that because of this, people are conditioned to trust the computer because they think the computer is infallible. And there's at least one incident recorded here where that led to some fatalities because our naval vessels have onboard defense systems and like the phalanx system. And part of those systems is to analyze a distant threat. Because of the distance that an anti-ship missile can be launched from a jet or an anti-ship torpedo from a boat or something. By the way, I don't have any other kind of torpedoes, but you know what I mean. So they, because of the distance, it's well beyond the range of human vision. So the computer has to be able to see what it is and figure out what it is. And then tell the people on board the ship, hey, this thing is coming. You may want to do something. Here's my recommendation based on parameters that the computer programmer has built into the program. And then the human has to decide yay or nay. And they're not supposed to just like leave it on autopilot. They're supposed to stay in the loop, and they're supposed to actually consider the question before they just willy-nilly trust the computer. The problem is they just willy-nilly trust the computer because, like, well, the computer's not wrong. It can't be. I can't independently verify it because of the distance. Because if I try to scramble fighters to go check it out, assuming it's like a carrier group or something, by the time they get there, they could have already launched anti-ship missiles, and I don't really have a counter to those, unless the phalanx system is really awesome and can actually stop the missiles, which usually it can, but, shit happens. So you have a very short window of time to make a decision, and usually the decision is, well, the computer's been right all the time up till now, so I'm going to trust it. Let's do what the computer says. And at least one of those scenarios, if I'm recalling the book correctly, it looks like we probably accidentally shot down an airliner thinking it was a MiG fighter jet. And yeah, people definitely died from that didn't need to. So that's a problem. That's a major problem. And that major problem, that is what leads to the Skynet scenario. Because the author argues that the Skynet scenario probably won't play out because the Terminator movies exist, because people have seen them. We should know culturally, it should be ingrained in us, like, don't give the computer the control of the nukes. However, he outlines a scenario where that could easily happen, and I personally think we're going to live through it and hopefully come out the other end. And that is essentially, well, yes, in the United States, that movie was popular. In other parts of the world, was it as popular? Did the people see it? Did the people heed the same warning from it? Or are the people just going to ignore the warning from it, thinking they can control the beast once they unleash it? And what's going to happen is, potentially, you'll have the United States and its geopolitical enemies, such as, say, Russia or China, or Iran. I mean, it can be other countries. Any number of countries, or possibly even an ally. You never know. Who are going to be like, well, the U.S. has these advanced computer systems, and it's going to give them a greater response. It's going to give them a better response time, so that if we attack them, they will for sure be able to launch a counterattack against us, or something to that effect. And so they will inevitably be like, well, to counter this, we need faster weapons like hypersonic missiles, and we need them. And at that point, we're talking beyond human reaction time. So we need a machine that we can program to react. At which point, then the United States will, well, their machine can react faster than we can react. So we need a machine that can react even faster. And you eventually get into the only way you can make the machines faster is if they can actually think and actually, like, think through what should happen, because their decision time is far shorter than human decision time. And that eventually leads to, well, under scenario X, the machine's just going to take over to ensure that the mutually assured destruction is still on the table. Because at the moment, that's probably the main thing keeping everyone from using their nukes, is that they know if they do, everyone else will as well, and that's the ball game. So then we're in the Mad Max territory. And so it'll become an arms race as to who can make the faster, more intelligent computer that they do plan on giving control of the nukes to. So, like, I unfortunately think that's what we're going to see. And like I said, the earlier anecdote points to that because the earlier anecdote just reinforces that on the one hand, the machine is fallible, but on the other hand, if the person in the loop doesn't do anything about it, what's the point of them being in the loop? You're gonna sacrifice the occasional mistake for reaction time. You're gonna willingly do so because the human's actually gonna slow things down and they're not gonna stop stupid decisions anyway. So, yeah, I think those factors are gonna combine and it's not gonna be good. So let's hope I'm wrong on that one. Uh, yeah, especially seeing the limits of AI currently. Let's just say Google Gemini uh, doesn't fill me with hope. So that's one anecdote. But the other is that humans have this weird thing where they anthropomorphize machines. And you see this in a couple different examples in the book. The main one is this machine that was designed to clear landmines. It's basically, if I remember correctly, it's like a centipede kind of in shape, but it has a bunch of like long stick legs. And basically, it'll find a mine, jam a leg into it to detonate it, and then keep working its way through the minefield. And they're doing a demonstration with like upper level brass. And these are like supposed to be, hardened guys that are, ready to send men to their deaths and everything. And it got down to like one leg, and the thing's just like dragging itself along by one leg, trying to find one last mine to destroy. And one of these guys just like screamed, like, "Stop, I can't watch this," because he was projecting human qualities onto a machine. And probably because it was, doing its job. It was doing its duty. He viewed it as a loyal soldier, essentially, and just couldn't handle it. And that's bad because the whole reason we're using the machines is so real people don't get killed. And this is transferred over to the bomb disposal robots in Iraq and Afghanistan. There are reports, and the book mentions this, of soldiers risking their lives to save the bomb disposal robot because, like, the robot, it's like a car, develops a little tick or something, and people give it a name, and like they start to project human characteristics onto it, even though it has none. Like a tick in a robot is literally just like a bolt's loose or something. Like, oh, there goes Stumpy. It's like, no, it's not. It makes it unique, but it's just because it needs to be repaired. And so humans would put themselves on the line to try to save these robots when the whole point of using the robots is so people don't die. And like there were people that do the repairs on them, so soldiers, battle hardened soldiers would come in tears wanting to know if they could fix their friend, the robot. And I get it. The things probably saved their lives several times. Again, they project the human emotions onto it and everything, but that's insane. Like that. And so the proposed solution, if they ever make things that actually are human-like, that do have like the outward appearances and everything, is number one, make them a little less human-looking, but number two, make them an asshole, so the other soldiers won't want to go save them. And I get it, but I think that's going to really do a number on unit cohesion. We're like, yeah, Sparky over there, don't go try to save his robotic ass. It's like, but Sarge, like he's one of the group, and he's Sparky's sitting over there giving you the finger. Like, what the hell does that do to unit cohesion? Like, I this is me inexperienced. I've obviously never been in combat or anything, but like, I generally understood that the whole premise was you're a unit. You gotta look out for each other. Like, that has to be part of the core thing, or the whole enterprise falls apart. So you can't have a guy on the team that's like, yeah, screw that guy. Like, I would think things would break apart there, but I could be wrong. Again, I've never been in those situations. Uh, got a friend that has. If he ever comes back here to India, I'll get him on here. Maybe we talk about something like that. But yeah. So anyway, There's a bunch of other anecdotes. The futurism parts are kind of interesting, the people's outlooks. And yeah, overall, good book. Highly recommend it if you have any interest in modern high-tech warfare, or where AI is potentially going, things like that. A lot of interesting tidbits in there, very, well researched and everything. So definitely check it out. Again, Wired for War, P.W. Singer. There'll be an affiliate link down on the bottom if you want to, if you're thinking about buying it, you want to help the channel. Otherwise, check it out at your library, borrow it for somebody, whatever. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. You want to see more book reviews for things like this? Less? Same topic, different topics? I've been trying to go through my books at home, and there's a few that I'm trying to find the physical copies so I can actually, show you, yes, I do have them. Yes, I have read them. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It's YouTube. But thank you folks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.